From the Ashley Kringen studios of the UBS network, it is Mind of the World with your host, Jerry Hinkle. So what's on the mind of the world for today, June 23rd, 2015, or 2015 if you prefer? Quite a bit, as a matter of fact. Political correctness and racism we're going to be dealing with today. And let's get the racism part out of the way. As you no doubt have heard, because the media keeps pounding it into the ground, there was a church shooting. There were 9 Methodists who happened to be of the African American persuasion that were shot last week, and I'm not condoning that activity. Never would. Not even, if they were, of course, I'm a Methodist too. We have, it's different branches of the same Methodist faith, but I still, I'm just as hurt about this as everyone else. Just because they happen to be a shade or two darker than me, no, never mind me. Even if they were Baptist, Catholic, or even if they were not even Christian, the fact that 9 people were murdered just on the basis of their skin color is a sad commentary on the state of affairs in this wonderful country of ours. But the liberal response, that is what I take issue with. They want to take my guns away. I'm not too happy about that. And they also want to take the Confederate flag away. And I'm kind of indifferent about that. I mean, I do have happy memories of watching the Confederate flag on the General Lee jumping the creek and getting away from Roscoe P. Coltrane, Enos, or even Cousin Cletus. The Confederate flag just doesn't mean a whole lot to me. As a matter of fact, yesterday, when I was on Facebook, and I did a little advertising for the Holabird Chamber of Commerce, reminding people that if they are offended by the Confederate flag, they could move to Holabird, where there is no racism. Well, that's a lie, because there's racism everywhere, whether we want to admit it or not. But I will. But truthfully, you will not find the Confederate flag flying anywhere in the Holabird metropolitan area, on any public building, or dare I say any private building. Excuse me. You might find it somewhere in that area, and if you do, let me know, and I'll correct myself on that. Still, I do not believe that if you get rid of the Confederate flag, if you get rid of all the guns, you will still have racism, because some people just have that in their heart. There is a solution to the problem of racism. I don't have it. But I don't know what it is, but I don't know the 2 things that it isn't. Guns will not solve, getting rid of guns will not solve the problem. Getting rid of the Confederate flag will not solve the problem. Like I said, there's racism in places where the Confederate flag never flew. And I'm just as sad about that as any liberal out there, or any conservative out there. And there are conservatives who are not racist, believe it or not. So, well, that's all I have to say about racism and the Confederate flag and the guns and whatnot. So let's get back to political correctness. Now, this actually was a conversation that I started with my father back. I've been away. You probably have noticed that. All of you who have been waiting with bated breath for me to come back on YouTube and spout my sagacious opinions. Yeah, all 5 of you who've been waiting with bated breath for that, and not seeing me on Monday and any other day of the week. And I finally got it. Uh, I was on vacation for the 1 week, and for the other week I was working like a dog, a very hard-working dog, but that's beside the point. Here I am. So here, but the conversation I had with my dad, I went to the Hollywood metropolitan area. I went to the prodigal son suite of the Hinkle Hilton, and while I was there, I hung out in the lobby with my dad. We got to talking about different things. We agreed on some things we did not. One thing that surprised me was his concern about political correctness. It seems that on the Real Time with Bill Maher show, Jerry Seinfeld, of all people, were complaining that college campuses, or campi, if we want to be grammatically correct, are college campi are too politically correct nowadays. Sorry, he gets too much censorship when he goes out and does his act. And after he said that on the Bill Maher show, apparently Chris Rock and Larry the Cable Guy agreed with him on that particular. And there is somewhere on the YouTube, you'll be able to, you just Google Bill Maher talking about this issue, and you'll probably find it like I did. I'm not going to provide the link on the bottom because I just don't feel like it. I'm just going to tell you that I have to agree with some of what he said, but not all of what he said. And thing about it is, and this is the truth about political correctness. When political correctness started, they had good intentions. Whenever political correctness was criticized, a proponent of political correctness would say, well, what's wrong with not offending people? Well, that really that gives a lot of people pause for thought. And the fact is, there's nothing wrong with not offending people. I'm all for that. Now, if you can possibly do that, but there is just too much stuff for people to be offended about, because people get offended over every little thing. Now, why that is, who knows? Notice, nobody ever worried about offending me, and it's very hard to offend me. Most people don't know that. But how it is that I'm all for, because of political correctness and the pressure that they have applied to the political correctness movement have applied to society. We can no longer say the N word or the R word or the F word or the P word, but they wasn't satisfied with that. Now we can't say the A word, the B word, the C word, the D word. And and so they're just taking. It's getting to be so that the only people we can offend are Republicans, Christians, and Jews, but only if you're Muslims. So, and of course, that's part of what Bill Maher was saying. And so here's what are we going to do? Well. Bill Maher had an interesting response, and maybe after all I might try to find that and put a link on the bottom eventually. And what he did was he responded to an open letter to Jerry Seinfeld as he thought that George Carlin would. Now, I have an issue with that in the fact that George Carlin was an actual comedian. Bill Maher, George Carlin was funnier than Bill Maher, Jerry Seinfeld, Larry the Cable Guy, and Chris Rock all put together. See, political incorrectness and vulgarity and that kind of thing, is one thing. George Carlin managed to sneak some jokes in between all the vulgarity and political incorrectness, which is something that this latest crowd has not been able to do because nothing they've ever said is funny. To me, anyhow. Maybe they have said something funny, but that's and it's true, and it's true that also found another thing on Facebook. A friend of mine posted a picture, a photograph of the old lady from Downton Abbey. The caption reading, "Vulgarity is no substitute for wit." And the person who posted that photo posted that for someone who knew who they were. I knew who it wasn't. I knew because me, I at times tried to be vulgar, but I'm going to leave that up to the young people that know how. I'm a little too old to be using profanity and jerking my drawers down and showing everybody my business and whatnot. But all the young people that get that vulgarity out of the way, so when you mature, you don't have to do that. So what's the solution to political correctness? Well, my approach to political correctness is you use it on a case-by-case basis. You don't try to offend anyone. On the other hand, you try not to be offended. We all have a filter, or at least now that I'm old and starting to gray, I have a filter where I can. If I sometimes have to bite my lip, but I don't always say what's on my mind because sometimes it's just not helpful. Once again, somebody once accused me of not being able to take constructive criticism after he called me a fat ass. I says, well, fat ass is not constructive criticism. I prefer ruggedly handsome, or fatso American. Maybe we could. There's got to be a political term for being large and in charge. That's another politically correct way of putting it. But calling me a fat ass is true, yes, but not constructive. And I don't know how many times I'm going to have, I was worried that I'd have to get some lemon juice and take shots during the show. And it seemed that I was well justified in that particular endeavor. But that's all I have to say about political correctness. So until next time, America, that is the truth about racism. And that is the truth about political correctness. So until next time, God be with you and do the best you can. And that is what is on the mind of the world for June 23rd, 2015 or 2015. Bye now.